Oh, you ain't no spook.
What do you mean?
Oh, mister, this place is creeping with ghosts. Why, I just seen a dead woman floating around right in there. Uh-oh, there she is, still floating.
Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here, and as I said, we're going to do a Charlie Chan film starring Mantan Moreland. Well, featuring Mantan Moreland. And just like the last video, I'm going to have a bit of a history lesson here. The character Charlie Chan was created by writer Earl Dare Biggers, and he wrote about 6 of these novels. They're very popular, but sadly, he passed away. And he had already licensed his character to Fox, and they've made several movies. And this is where Warner Oland came in. He was a Swedish actor, and he took over the role because at the time, it was standard for lead characters who were of a foreign or racially divergent background to be played by a white actor in makeup. Ironically, Oland's only real makeup was just the little addition of the little soul patch they had up there, because his features were slightly Asiatic. He claimed he was a descendant of Mongolian invaders into Sweden. Yeah, who knows? Maybe, or maybe it's just a good publicity story. Anyway, they had quickly run out of plots from Biggers' books, and so they began the Charlie Chan travelogue films with Warner Oland. You know, Charlie Chan in Paris, Charlie Chan in London, Charlie Chan in Egypt, Charlie Chan at the opera, Charlie Chan at the circus. The opera is pretty interesting because he was acting alongside Boris Karloff. Also of note, one of the earlier sound films was Black Camel, an adaptation of the novel, and had a major role for Bela Lugosi in it, coming off of his Dracula triumph. Unfortunately, Oland had a bit of a drinking problem, and it was causing a decline in his health and cognitive abilities, and he passed away in the late 30s. Enter Sidney Toller, a rather unknown supporting player who would pop up in different films, usually playing a dumb cop. And he was now made Charlie Chan. Now, the Warner Oland series had as his number 1 son, played by Key Luke. Key Luke didn't want to continue with the series after Oland's death, so they then went with Victor Soon Young to play number 2 son. Ironically, while the lead actor had to be white, most of the actors playing his family or other Asian characters were Asian. Hollywood had some weird rules back in the 30s, 40s, up through the 50s sometimes. Anyway, That ran for about 4 years. Then Fox had decided there just wasn't enough return for the Charlie Chan films. One thing of note. Back when Olin died, actually, let's go all the way back to when Biggers died. The publisher wanted a new Asian detective, so they hired, I believe his name was McQuad, to come up with a new character, and he came up with Mr. Moto, a Japanese secret agent. And Fox also did a series of those films, starring Hungarian actor Peter Lorre. And when Olin passed away, they were planning a Charlie Chan film in the boxing world, and so they just shifted that over to a Mr. Moto film and had Key Luke play his Charlie Chan character, who Charlie sends to Mr. Moto for some detective lessons or something. It was kind of convoluted, especially because it being a Charlie Chan film, it didn't at first. This was one of the few Moto films where he didn't involve in his beating up a room full of criminals with his judo. Anyway, back to Fox. They ended the series. Now, this was Toller's only starring role, so he went to Biggers' widow and got the screen rights to the character, and he shopped it around, coming to Monogram. About the time they were trying to get a more prestige look about themselves, they were increasing budgets, and Charlie Chan was a good recognition name, so they went along with Toller. And as happened, he passed away in the middle of the series, and so they again had to recast. I forgot to look up the name. I hate when I do that. Roland Winters. Winters was kind of interesting in that he had a very prodigious nose, and he thought there's no way people would buy him as Charlie Chan with that nose. So in what would be a precursor to a lot of noir films, Winters never looked to the left or the right, never in profile, always stared straight at the camera. When he was questioning people, he would face away from them, ask his question, and then snake his eyes over to see what the reaction would be, which in low budget filming, pretty neat trick. Then during the heyday of noir, a lot of the low budget noirs would have everybody facing the same way having conversations. So, pretty cool. Throughout the Monogram series, they of course had different children that would pop up. Number 3 son, number 1 daughter, all that. And in the first film, we were introduced to Mantan Moreland's Birmingham Brown, who is a cab driver. And he, after the first adventure, gets hired as Chan's chauffeur. He was also, or I should say Charlie Chan was also moved from the Honolulu Police Department to the United States Secret Service, thereby allowing his globetrotting to be a little more explainable. Although after Winters took over, he was then headquartered in San Francisco as sort of a private detective type character. And Moreland stayed through the whole series, except for a couple of films where he was substituted by his cousin, played by Willie Best. Now, in this film, Black Magic, we open with Charlie apparently letting Birmingham go because he's planning to take a long visit back to Honolulu, and he's bought a bunch of toys and magic stuff for his many children. He had something like 10 or 12. I can't remember, and it doesn't really matter. I think it changed from film to film anyways. But so Birmingham gets a job at a psychics establishment, and the man who he's replacing as the major domo gives him some advice on this establishment and how to deal with it.
I don't need this now.
How to disappear. Mr. Johnson, does this book really tell you how to disappear?
Guaranteed to make you go from where you is so you ain't where you was in a flash.
Can you do it?
I'm about to vanish right now.
That will become a running gag throughout the film. Of course, Birmingham can't resist looking in on the seance just to see what's going on, and gets a bit of a fright.
Who called me? Who wants me here?
Number 1, cat. Number 2, cat has come by to give us a little treat and to gnaw on my arm, apparently. As he does. Anyway, while Mantan rushes back upstairs to pack up his stuff and get out of his major domo outfit, because he's not going to stay in some place with ghosts, a couple of strange things happen. First, an unknown voice.
What happened in London the night of October 5th, 1935? What happened in London the night of October 5th, 1935?
Who asked that question? Answer me.
He had enough to eat. And the second thing is a startling discovery when the lights come back up.
Don't touch him while he's in his trance.
He won't come out of this trance. He's dead.
Dead? I thought only spirits were dead around here.
Mr. Bonner has been shot.
This news not only shocks everyone downstairs, or at the seance, but also the ghost. Second try. This news not only shocks all the people at the seance, but also the 2 ghosts downstairs.
Murdered. What do we do, Tom?
Keep your corpuscles cool, Vera. First we get dressed.
And then skip town?
I'd leave all our equipment here and up in that seance room, not much.
I wonder who killed him.
Would you like me to bring back his ghost and ask him? Get dressed.
So, the police are called, and this is a conundrum. No one heard a gunshot, yet he's got a gunshot wound. Everyone searched, no gun. Room is searched, no gun. Later, the coroner finds out there's no bullet either. But as luck would have it, one of the guests at the seance, Frances, just happens to be the daughter of Charlie Chan, who is in town, preparing for his trip back to Honolulu. So, Charlie Chan is called down to the police station, and the investigating officer is a little underhanded in the way he gets Charlie to help.
How about you helping us on this case, Chan?
Oh, no. Must refuse gracious offer. Am on brief vacation from government work.
Well, you can go, Charlie. But of course your daughter stays. Don't forget she's involved in a murder.
Oh, Pop, do I really have to stay here?
Not for long. Okay, I take case.
Some quick investigating. Chan finds that one of the attendees, Miss Wilson, isn't her real name. It's an alias. So she's brought in for questioning.
I was afraid to give
my true name.
Why, please?
Because William Bonner had just been killed. And if anyone had a motive for killing him, I had. My father was Charles Duncan, civil engineer.
He committed suicide a year ago.
Yep. Turns out after her mother died, her father was attending those seances. And not only was he bilked out of a lot of his money, a lot of his trade secrets were suddenly appearing in the hands of competitors. So it could be that she killed him for retribution, but they have no evidence, just that she gave a false name. Meanwhile, Frances, like all of Charlie's other kids, wants to get in on the investigation. She had been at the seance originally to help a friend, and she talks Birmingham into helping her since he works there and the police won't let him leave. And so they investigate, and they hear some suspicious phone calls.
Are you both there?
Yes, you want to see us?
No. Stay where you are until I need you.
That's out. We want to get away.
Get away? Why?
We're not mixed up in Bonner's murder.
You'll stay. Both of you.
But there's a slight problem that Birmingham and Frances figure out. There's no phone in that room.
Worried.
She's alone in there. Who's she talking to?
More spooks?
I may have to disappear. I'll need your help.
Of course, that's what Birmingham would think. Charlie shows up, and he searches the seance room, and he makes two interesting discoveries.
World, step inside.
Gosh, Pop, how'd you figure this out?
Man, that's a lot of crazy stuff, huh? Oh, as for the answer of how Chan figured out the box, pure deductive reasoning, because he's a trained detective. After they sneak out, because they weren't there to search legally, not even Charlie, Charlie calls all the suspects over to the police station, where he shows them all the fan. No one seems to recognize it, and then we go down through everybody's reasons for perhaps killing Mr. Bonner. Mr. Edwards makes magical equipment for magicians, and he had been involved with Mr. Bonner. Then we have Mrs. Green and Mr. Hammond, who were both being blackmailed by Mr. Bonner for stuff that had come out during the seances. And as for Mrs. Bonner, well, she had been overheard berating her husband for the attention he was giving Mrs. Green. So, they're all suspects. And, of course, Miss Duncan. After Chan dismisses him, Miss Duncan does remember something and says it right in front of everybody.
Yes?
At the seance, someone asked a question about London.
What happened on night of October 5th, 1935? Yes.
Well, I was in London then.
You know answer to strange question?
No, but the voice that asked it seemed familiar somehow.
I am sure that in no way will cause anyone to try and make an attempt on her life. Well, After everyone leaves, Charlie goes to visit the police scientist, chemist, 1940s version of CSI. And tells him of his theory about the gun and the bullet, which we don't get to hear. And as he leaves the chemist to ponder this conundrum he's given him, Charlie, one of the officers, and his daughter return to his hotel, where they find they have a surprise visitor.
Asleep, is she?
Impossible to sleep in this.
What's it all about, Pop?
Seems we arrive in time after all. Miss Duncan's supposed to be dead when we get here.
But apparently they weren't really just in time.
What happened?
Get out.
Luckily, they managed to push Miss Duncan down on the couch and hid behind it, and nobody got hit. Unfortunately, the killer got away using a bit of misdirection. Anyway, Charlie quickly manages to break the trance that Miss Duncan is in, and she has no memory of how she got there or why she was there. Well, the next day, Birmingham, much to his regret and protest, is convinced by Francis to follow Miss Bonner when she leaves, and they follow her to Mr. Edwards' building. In fact, they follow her to the floor, but they don't see her go in, and they rush to call Charlie, who, along with the police detectives, rush towards the building. But again, too late.
More this way. Just a little more, Mr. Potter.
I think she's gonna jump. Don't jump!
One thing you can appreciate from these old films, they don't show the impact, just the reaction to the impact. Leaving the regular officers to take care of covering the body and all that stuff. Charlie notices a couple of people are actually there. Mr. Hammond and Ms. Green. He then goes up to the floor of Edwards' office, where he finds evidence that Ms. Bonner went to a different office. Trying to think he knows what's going on, and has her coat, Mrs. Bonner's coat, taken to the chemist, where he has it tested.
It's what we figured, Mr. Chan.
Menagerie.
Absolutely. It's a derivative of the powerful shock drug.
Apparently this is a very powerful hypnotic that could put a person completely in someone else's control. Charlie laments there's no known antidote, but the chemist corrects him and says there is.
One of these pills will reduce the effects of menagerie to impotency.
How long it take antidote to work?
I haven't had a chance to make any tests, but I should say it would work within 10 to 15 minutes.
After absent-mindedly pocketing the antidote, Chan then goes to talk to the detectives. The chief one is ready to call the case closed. Ms. Bonner killed Bonner. Charlie says, nope. Same person killed both people. So, case is still open. After that, we get a very charming scene between Charlie and his daughter.
I bought a crownless hat and a backless dress and some toeless shoes.
Stores have no clothes which are complete?
That's the style. Just wait till the boys see me.
Can you imagine what happened?
Why, Pop, what was that?
New toot out of old horn.
Wasn't that sweet? I kind of like that. If you've ever seen any of the other Charlie Chan films from this era, he usually is rather frustrated and dumbfounded by his sons and their antics, but his daughter, she seems to be the smart one in this group. Yeah. Well, he has several daughters, so, you know. Anyway, the next day, he goes to investigate the office that Mrs. Bonner went into, and he notices that something isn't quite right. Oh, almost had that pill in. Well, luckily he gets another chance in probably the spookiest segment in the film.
Relax, Mr. Chan. Relax.
My heart. Pill.
You have the pill, Mr. Chan?
Pocket.
You may take a pill, Mr. Chan.
Creepy. Well, Charlie, he got his pill in, but the bad guy had a little trick of his own.
There was mesberol in that water.
That mentrol works pretty quick, and then we get the hypnosis. So the hypnosis machine is like a reversed optometrist gadget? Anyway, back at the station, Frances has gotten kind of worried. She hasn't heard from her father in quite a while. So she and Rafferty, the other detective, the one that keeps following them around, they go to the office to check, and she notices the box of pills that her father had with him the other evening. Unfortunately, Charlie's already left, and he's heading for the roof, which they spot him and try to rescue him.
Oh, Pop!
Keep back. Murderer on roof.
Pretty tense moment. Fortunately, the killer got away again. So at this point, Charlie gets two important pieces of information. One, the chemist confirms his theory on the murder weapon and what happened to the bullet. And two, he finally gets an answer to the telegram he had sent to Scotland Yard about that date everyone mentions. So, in true Charlie Chan fashion, he pulls everyone together at the scene of the crime and starts to go over everything. And the two ghosts try to make a run for it.
Oh, no, you don't.
Come out. You.
We don't get to see what Chan is asking them, of course, because we gotta pop over to another bit from Mantan. But then, with this last bit of information, Charlie can now find the killer. And so he asks each of the suspects in turn a word association question.
Magician.
Supplies.
518.
Train.
Bonner.
Dead.
Revenge.
No.
Magician.
Trickster.
October.
Month.
Bullet.
Gun.
London.
City.
1935.
Year.
London.
England.
Cigar.
Cold.
Case.
I see.
Well, Charlie now knows who the killer is. Do you? I'll give you a few moments to go over the clues, like Hillary Queen used to do. Think you got it? Okay. Charlie announces he knows who the killer is, which of course causes the killer to try and shut him up.
Something wrong with lights.
Oh, what was that? There's a bullet hole in this chair.
But of course, that's just what Charlie was hoping for.
But bullet did not go entirely through chair. You work lights very well. For helping me illuminate dark mystery, I now make you junior member of the firm.
Always one step ahead. So we get the denouement, in which the motive is explained in the telegram Charlie got about, on that date, a magician known as Shardo was involved in a major accident, was laid up for a year in the hospital. The cause of the accident was that his wife, who was Mrs. Bonner, had run off with his assistant, Mr. Bonner, and he, being a man of violent temperament, was chasing after them when they ran his car off the road. Well, that leaves us now down to two suspects. Shardo, being a man bent on revenge, had plastic surgery done and had wormed his way into their confidence game as one of their clients. So which one is it? And how did he kill the two people and try to kill Charlie?
Shardo the Great was very clever. He was magician, ventriloquist, actor, and hypnotist. But he could hardly expect to fool the police forever. Could he, Mr. Hamlin?
Yep. It was that guy who we barely seen through the whole thing. Anyway, of course, now that he's been found out, he tries to make a break for it.
Mr. Shardo, you are wanted for murder.
I'm not being taken, Chan.
It is unavoidable, Shardo.
Look out, Charlie.
Yeah, not much of a fight, but then Toller was in his 60s. And this was at a time when people didn't work out and exercise past adulthood. In school, maybe, if you're an athlete, college, but it's not something most people regularly did. Anyhow, turns out the cigar case that Hamlin had was actually an air gun with a refrigeration unit in it that fired bullets made of frozen blood, which was the exact same thing they used in the Boris Karloff Mr. Wong mystery, Fatal Hour. Anyhow, with that all settled, we get a bit of humor between Charlie and Birmingham.
What's the matter, Birmingham? Don't you feel good?
Oh, I feel fine now. I took some of my vitamin pills.
What vitamin pill?
Oh, these here, why, there's a lot of pep in these pills, Mr. Chan.
In fact, Mantan had a lot of great one-liners in this. Really made the film enjoyable.
But what about this Bonner murder?
Commissioner, that was a strictly private murder to which I was not invited.
Who do you think killed Mr. Bonner?
Spooks?
Silly, they can't hurt anyone.
No. Well, how come they're scaring me to death?
You are about to leave?
Mr. Chan, I've been about to leave ever since I arrived here.
Birmingham.
Speaking from here, I am Spook.
You are?
Oh, Birmingham. We'll be right back.
Mr. Chan, if you is dead, stay wherever you are. Let me get some of my vitamins. Now let them spooks come on. Shut my mouth. If y'all heard me, I was only kidding. It's just got to work this time. Abracadabra, disappear. Abracadabra, disappear.
You can't make anything disappear by snapping your fingers.
No? Well, how come every time I snap my fingers and say, come 7, all my money disappears? Abracadabra. No, that don't work. Come 7. I made it!
Those last couple were part of a running gag where he would say abracadabra, snap his fingers, and nothing would happen. Oh, I know what you're thinking. What about that fan and that arm they found in the curtains? Well, the fan was Miss Bonner's from back in the day, and it was there to 1, frame her, and 2, let her know that it was probably Shardo who was after her. And as for that third hand, well, that was how Shardo was able to keep hand, because everybody at the seance was holding hands. That way he could hold hands and still fire his gadget. And then during all the excitement, he just simply hung it behind the curtain. I rather enjoy the monogram Charlie Chan's better than the better made and plotted ones from Fox. Warner Olin was very polite and unassuming, almost to a fault. Very dignified through the whole thing. And Toller was trying to emulate him for the most part. But over at Monogram, he gave a tougher performance. And whereas with Olin, it was like, oh, thank you so much. He sounded sincere. Where when Toller would say it in the monograms, thank you so much, it was like, oh, thank you so much. Very much a screw you, pal. And the films were a little more gritty. Some, like the Shanghai Cobra and Dark Alibi, bordering on film noir and crime films of the day. And a lot of them had science fiction elements, usually an invention someone had created. And then, of course, really spooky ones, like the Jade Mask, where a corpse is seen to have walked when he couldn't have because he was already dead, and things like that. A lot of really fun mysteries here, and of course, Mantan steals the show. And this is a pretty good mystery. The fact that they reused the gimmick from a Mr. Wong film, notwithstanding. Of course, one of the Mr. Wong films was actually a remake of an earlier mystery from the 30s. So, you know, low budget studios, they had to recycle a lot of stuff. Props, plots, even footage. But yeah, like all the Chans are really enjoyable. This is a fun one, and I think it is well worth your time to search these out, because fairly good mysteries and great comedy. So please hit like, share, and subscribe, and stay after the credits for my favorite scene.
Abba. Oh, my goodness, I done forgot the magic word.
Birmingham.
Ooh, Mr. Chan, you sure did lose some weight.
Birmingham.